All right, welcome in. It is a December 1st edition of BloodHorse Monday. We're already into December, Frank. How about that? And frankly, the weather outside here in Lexington, Kentucky is very, very, it is officially winter. I think we've hit that point. Churchill's over. It feels like Turfway.
It's the time of year that would make you want to go to the desert.
No, that's exactly right. Or somewhere significantly further south than here is generally the thought. At this point, some great racing, though, of course, over the weekend, both at Churchill and Del Mar as they wrap up their respective meets. We see a little bit of changing of the guard at Churchill, certainly with Irad Ortiz Jr. winning the riding title there. We see Brad Cox getting a training title as well. But look, it's about the horses, and frankly, a horse in magnitude wins the Clark, the 151st rendition of that race. One of those 3-year-olds, we were kind of waiting to put it all together. Frankly, on the 4-year-old side of things, we saw Fierceness put it all together in the Pacific Classic. Was that this race for magnitude?
I mean, the Clark has become kind of a little bit of a preview of what's coming in the year ahead. In this case, 2026. And I like that he rated just a bit, settled into that second position. That pressing position in American dirt racing is absolutely where you want to be. And then he put enough together to win it in a stretch. I'll tell you, really, the top 3 finishers are all quality horses. Chunk of Gold just repeats the effort. I mean, I think Travis said a career best effort or something during the stretch. And I was a little bit like, Chunk of Gold's done that a bunch of times.
I agree with you.
For whatever reason, he's often overlooked, but just look at the resume he's put together. He does it again and again. So Magnitude was able to get by him, hit show, picked up the pieces for second. All he is the reigning Dubai World Cup winner. So quality horse who's also has put together a strong finish to this year. We'll see how it falls on my vote. He might sneak in as a finalist for in the handicap division for me with that big win in Dubai and some quality runs since then.
Yeah, he's been a good horse all year. The magnitude question, though, obviously Gosgar a little bit up the track in this one, Frank. But as we look forward to the handicap division next year, obviously we already talked with Aaron Wellman on this show. We'll see journalism next year. Where do you put magnitude in that group? Did this elevate him into, I mean, essentially a top 2 or 3 in the 4-year-old group?
Yeah, I think so. If he doesn't have that setback after his win in the spring, I think he's one of the 5 favorites probably in the Derby, and we would see from there. So now he's kind of shown himself that he's shown that he's kind of right back where he was and ready to take on some of those bigger name horses.
Rattle and roll. Might we have seen his best days already? Is it a chance that maybe that was his last go around?
He's fun because he's done it. He's
awesome.
Been there for a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's been there for a lot of them. So hopefully he comes back, but we'll see on that one.
We saw trainer Brad Cox hit win number 500, and then in the last win number 501 with a 5-win win day on Saturday at Churchill Downs. Further ado, wins the Jockey Club there. This is a race that's either very predictive or very not important for the Kentucky Derby Trail. After watching Saturday, which one do you think would you lean more toward?
I think it's pretty predictive.
I agree.
When you have a trainer like Brad Cox that has a talented 2-year-old like this, I was pretty impressed. What really impressed me about that race is he moves up from 4th to contend for the lead without being asked at all. Like, that was just talent, Now, some people might quibble that it took him a little bit of effort to get by the front runner, but we don't have a whole lot of track record at this point. No, maybe that front runner is going to turn out to be one of the top horses. It's all kind of self-defining at this point, but he does get by him, and he opens up and he wins. He holds off a closing run. So I was plenty impressed. Yeah, I think that, and just seeing the connections that we're looking at a talented horse here. The 20-length win, you can't take that away either.
I agree. Right.
And in terms of, yes, he didn't win this by 20 lengths, obviously, but I saw that talent show itself in the backstretch and in the far turn when he's just doing it on his own. So to me, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned it. It's the connections here that give you the hope.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know who the ownership is, you know who the training group is. And so that, you know who's going to be riding if he continues to move along that way. So this is the kind of colt that you can get pretty excited about. Would you rather be in the Ted Noffey group or in the Further Ado group at this point?
You'd like to have both. It's good to be spendthrift, and they're doing a lot of things well over there, obviously, and that's good for them.
It really is. We see the Goldenrod win go to Bella Ballerina. She is the half sister to Oaks winner Pretty Mischievous. And look, the Jockey Club as a race, as a predictor, goes back and forth. Goldenrod doesn't go back and forth. This is the predictor race. Bella Ballerina puts herself right in that conversation.
And the winning trainer, Brendan Walsh, obviously just made it successfully to the Kentucky Oaks with the half sister. I suspect we'll see her in the Fairgrounds route again, which has been so successful for 3-year-old fillies. So nothing new there. So now let's just keep an eye and see how she progresses and does.
Who do you think we've seen the better group at the top? Is it the Derby group right now with the Noffies and with the Adus at the top, or are we getting? I mean, Bella Ballerina, she's a really talented filly.
Yeah, I'll have to go with the Colts though.
I agree at this point.
When you have a colt like Ted Noffi, ship from the East Coast, go out west and win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on the West Coast. That's nothing. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and that caught my eye. I have to go with that.
I agree
because of that reason.
And the top of the filly
group,
Grade
1 wins.
Boom. The top of the filly group right now, Super Corridora. That was only her second win, right? And you talk about a Bella Ballerina. That's only her second race ever, frankly. And so we're still seeing that. I think it's more that in a rare year, the Colts are further along than the fillies are. So often we see these fillies really developed as 2-year-olds and are able to continue it into the 3-year-old year. Should be interesting to see all of this. And out west, of course, closing weekend at Del Mar, we get those trio of graded turf races, including the win in the Grade 1 Hollywood Derby for Salamis. Tescore a real chance to win a second Grade 1, probably insert himself into that maybe second place in the Eclipse votes. I mean, you could have made a case with him alongside of journalism, something like that. Near miss there, but Chad Brown, boy, this is just what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it was telling that the horses that shipped in did very well. It's good news and bad news. We want the West Coast to do well, but it's good to see some talented 3-year-olds ship out. The winner had a kind of a trouble trip at Keeneland. He didn't really want to get in the gate in the Bryan Station. Then he did. He just didn't show the usual amount of interest, kind of raced wide throughout and finished 5th. Chad fixed whatever the problem was and got him right back. And because other than that effort, the horse has been super consistent. So I would, again, it's kind of that hey, it's great to win a Grade 1 anytime you can win it, but it's also a little bit of let's look ahead to next year. And that horse figures to keep improving and be right there.
I think the only thing that was kind of an aw shucks or an oh dang it from the Del Mar meet was the canceling of the Pat O'Brien of the 2-year-old race there. Are you of a similar opinion to me that once the Breeders' Cup is east of the Rockies, that we'll fill that race again? That so many of the best 2-year-olds just end up in those dirt races.
Kind of just saved up, you think?
Yeah. Might be. I mean, Jay Humpty has a really good piece up at BloodHorse.com about it, and it's some of the issues that go into.
So did you mean the Bob Hope?
Or the Bob Hope? I'm
sorry.
Yes, the Bob Hope. That's so funny. Yeah. So the Bob Hope
is Pat O'Brien's a top sprint.
Yeah.
Bob Hope is a traditional prep race for 2-year-olds turning 3.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think with the Pat O'Brien that I think you eventually. I did again. I apologize. But I think with those 2-year-old races, once that Breeders' Cup is back east of the Rockies, we'll fill those races.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It's tough to see those things though. You get used to those races, especially those 2-year-old preps. We get excited about them, especially post Breeders' Cup. Just tough to see those cancellations.
It's great to see a lot of people in the industry now giving a lot of thought to California. It's just such a terrific racing circuit. So many of our best owners are out there. So let's continue on that path and find a way to keep these traditions going in California. And the Bob Hope was one of them. And Jay really pointed out what a loss that was for this year. And hopefully let's get it right back for next year. Starlet
and Futurity the next couple of weeks at Los Alamitos before, of course, the big Malibu Day, the 26th, back at Santa Anita there in Southern California. But I thought overall, some talk about, wagering pools and those things, but overall a very positive meet at Del Mar. And frankly, another one at Churchill Downs as well.
Yeah, exactly. Some strong fall meets for sure. And the big fall meet or weekend of racing at Aqueduct is coming up. So good to see that momentum going. And yeah, as you brought up, most normal people count down the days of Christmas, but us in the racing community count down the days of December 26th and that huge card at Santa Anita, which was so successful last year.
It really was.
And really created some momentum for the whole year. So hopefully that comes to pass again this year.
Hopefully we will get back to exactly that. We'll hear now from Dayle Brown, and this is an interview that Sean recorded for this episode. He is the racecourse director there at Abu Dhabi. You and I will react to this after the video, Frank, but the emergence of the Arabian Peninsula in general as part of especially the dirt scene internationally has been really fascinating. When we talk about racing in the United States, you mentioned it. Hey, maybe not so great that, these shippers come into California and win those turf races, but having other countries invested in dirt racing the way that Japan is, the way that we're seeing now in places like Abu Dhabi, a real positive, frankly, for what we do in North America.
Well, we just talked about how strong the 3-year-olds turning 4, the handicap division is looking for 2026. We just came off what I think was the best handicap division in years. So I think the international races are a part of that. You do have a chance to go race in the $20 million Saudi Cup. You have a chance to race in what's Dubai up to 16 or 12.
That's right, yeah.
It's a lot. It's 8 figures.
Yes, it is.
So when you see those races and Breeders' Cup at the end of the year, you can justify bringing a horse back at an older age and adding to that racing resume and strengthening that. We have so many current stallions that raced at 4 and older.
Yes.
Gun Runner, Curlin, that it's shown that it can be done. You can have that extra year or 2 of racing and still be a successful sire. Obviously, it's not my horse, not my money, but there's added racing opportunities, and that certainly helps in the decision-making process.
Yeah, a little purse money can go a long ways for sure. But here is Sean with Dayle Brown from over there in Abu Dhabi, and they're racing there.
Joined here on BloodHorse Monday by the Abu Dhabi Turf Club racecourse director Dayle Brown. Just Dayle, how are you doing today?
Yeah, well, thanks. Well, great to be with you, and great to talk about all things that are happening with the Abu Dhabi Turf Club in the coming rest of the season.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out there in Abu Dhabi. I will actually be out there this weekend for the President Cup that's coming up. This is a race for 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs on the turf. Just who are some of the top horses that you guys are expecting to be participating in this race?
Yeah, this is this iteration of the Thoroughbred race on the President Cup day. So there's 2 races on the Cup day for starters. There's a Purebred Arabian race, Group 1, and also the Thoroughbred listed race, which we're going to talk about, over 1,400 metres for 3-year-old and older. We're really hoping to attract some top local talent from Dubai, given that we are looking to have a bigger race in February, which we'll talk about later, called the Abu Dhabi Gold Cup, worth $1 million US. But we're hoping that Charlie Appleby and some of our local trainers like Michael Costa will bring horses to this event. And the horses that are rated 100 plus in the ratings here in the UAE, which will give us a really good feel for His Highness the President Cup Thoroughbred listed race on the 6th of December.
Well, you mentioned the race that you guys are coming up with later on in the next couple of months, but for this race, it's a $1 million race for you guys out there. Is this the President Cup a race that you guys are really looking to promote to kind of increase its status? It's listed status right now, but increase into that group status and kind of turn into one of the features of the track in the country?
Yeah, we're actually looking to profile thoroughbred racing here at the Abu Dhabi Turf Club. The history of Abu Dhabi and the previous name of the turf club was the Abu Dhabi Equestrian Club, and it has a rich history in purebred Arabians. But we understood that we wanted to be able to provide the opportunity for thoroughbred racing here in Abu Dhabi, and that really is the prime location for it, is in Dubai. But we're sort of starting to sort of emerge with our thoroughbred offering, and on this day, on the 6th of December, coming up in just over a week's time, we'll have His Highness the President Cup, which is one of the top-rated listed thoroughbred races for us here at the Abu Dhabi Turf Club. And we're also looking to develop that thoroughbred offering as we look to enhance the condition book for thoroughbred racing going into the future.
Well, we see a lot of big races kind of for this division, the turf sprint division out there in the Middle East. We think of the 1351 turf sprint on Saudi Cup night. We think about the Al-Khaz sprint on Dubai World Cup night. Is the President Cup a race that could kind of play a role as a stepping stone into some of these races for the local horses out there?
Look, it can. It's interestingly, the Gulf region is really looking to collaborate more in relation to all their races, and especially around thoroughbred, to get the best thoroughbreds here. So they stay in the region to campaign. That's really important, because if the region functions as a whole group effectively, then you tend to get the better thoroughbreds here to conduct a campaign. And the horses that are made for that sort of that shorter distance up to a mile, they can go into longer distances if they're sort of multifaceted in the way they race. And that's what we're looking to do, especially here in the UAE, is to work with the Gulf region more collectively, so we get the best horses here and get the most out of our carnivals during this period.
Well, this race day, as you mentioned, it also features the big race for the Arabians, the President Cup version for the Arabians. That's $8 million for you guys out there. And you have several other stakes races on the day. Just how big of a race card is this for the Abu Dhabi Turf Club? Just where does this kind of rank in your season?
Oh, this is one of our biggest days. This is the grand final for the purebred Arabians. They race throughout the world through this President Cup format, and in the Grand Prix they race on in the Arc in Paris during that race meeting, and through Europe the purebred Arabian racing is very prominent, and it culminates here at the Abu Dhabi Turf Club on the 6th of December, and you'll see the best purebred Arabians in the world, rating up to 130 plus, and it's a great race. The purebred Arabian race of interest, the World Cup Grand Prix, was on the Arc day in Longchamps, and was a stirring battle between Al Ghadir and HML Shaheen, who's the top-rated horse here for the President Cup on the 6th of December, and they fought it out to the line. It was one of the better races of the day, and I come from a thoroughbred background, and it was one of the great races. It was a stirring duel down the straight, and I'm sure we'll see another great race here on the 6th of December.
Yeah. Well, over here in America, we all tune in to the Dubai World Cup and we turn into the Saudi Cup. So we kind of pay attention on those days. But over the last, decade or so, how much has the UAE's yearly calendar really kind of grown and expanded? It seems like you guys are working on that in the Abu Dhabi Turf Club. So how much has that region's horse racing just kind of taken off?
This is the growth region, and I can say that with some experience. I was in Singapore as the chief racing officer when Singapore closed and then Macau closed, and where a lot of jurisdictions are struggling with the relevance of horse racing for many reasons. In this region, it is growing, and is growing fast, and the region understands that it is an area where we can hold some of the great events, and they want world-class events here. And it's on Abu Dhabi's vision and strategic plan to be able to develop world-class events, and especially for thoroughbreds. As I said earlier, you'll see in the coming years the thoroughbred offering will grow, and it will do it in a complementary way with the purebred Arabian offering, that we have both types of racing for the tradition, for people who love their purebred Arabian racing, but also developing that thoroughbred racing, which has that international appeal back into the US. Look at how we stream, look at how we provide people a connection to not only the World Cup and to Dubai, but the emergence of Abu Dhabi and the track here in the Abu Dhabi city.
Yes. Well, tell us a little bit about the track itself in Abu Dhabi. What are some of the amenities that you guys offer? If any fans make it to the racetrack, what could they expect?
It's a very surprising location. To give you a sort of a bit of a brief overview of the whole site. It's got a huge equestrian setup, which is world class. It has a sand track for training and a 2,000-meter track. The President Cup for purebred Arabians is run over 2,200. We do run 2,400-meter races on the grass track. It's a grass surface. There is an amazing grandstand and amenities. I think people are surprised when they get here. In the middle of the track, there's a 9-hole golf course, which is of a very good standard and a thriving golf business. Driving ranges. We've got a country club here that is being redeveloped as part of the master plan, which has multi-sporting facets to it. So it is a one-stop shop for a sporting environment here in the city of Abu Dhabi. When people get here, they are absolutely surprised at the amenity of the race club itself. It's got an amazing grass track, really good covering of grass, and the jockeys that ride here from an international exposure point of view, and the top jockeys comment on how good the surface is here and enjoy riding on the grass here in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. You kind of mentioned some of your experience a little bit earlier, but how did you get involved in horse racing originally, and then what ended up bringing you out to Abu Dhabi?
I've been involved in the industry for over 30 years. I started as a steward in racing in Australia, and I've worked my way through many administrative roles through not only thoroughbred racing, through harness racing here in Australia, and most of you will be, or your American friends would be aware of harness racing, a big sport also in the US. So I've had that opportunity to experience both disciplines, flat racing with thoroughbreds and purebred Arabians, and also with the standardbreds and harness racing. But also I've had the chance to tour the world and different conferences. The Global Wagering Symposium Conference in Arizona, I've had the opportunity to speak there about 10 years ago, and I've been to many conferences around the world, including Hong Kong. So I've really had quite a diversified career in racing, and still love it till today.
Yeah. Well, with all that experience that you've had kind of seeing different racing jurisdictions across the globe, how does the UAE kind of compare right now in terms of racing quality, in terms of their upward trajectory? Kind of how does that all compare?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, the upward trajectory is there, and the will to be able to establish the region as one of the best racing regions and destinations in the world. And especially from Abu Dhabi's point of view, we really want to be a destination for international racing as well as growing local racing. There's a real appetite to drive racing for the future vision, to be a destination for people to come and visit, to be a part of the carnivals that exist, be a part of the Saudi Cup, the Dubai World Cup, to play a real role in that and to grow the region exponentially. So the vision is really to have Abu Dhabi as front of mind, as part of the carnivals that are here during this period, through the UAE, through the Dubai World Cup, through Saudi, through Qatar, to have Abu Dhabi as one of the destinations for international racing.
Well, as you grow the Abu Dhabi racing, you mentioned the Gold Cup earlier. Just what are some of the things we can look forward to in the future that you guys are going to put together?
Yeah, we have a short break after the racing season for this year completes its race meeting on the 20th of December. We then reseed the track, and we'll be back on the 7th of February. And on the 7th of February, we have the inaugural running of the Abu Dhabi Gold Cup over 1,600 metres for 4-year-old horses and older. It'll be worth $1 million US and $600,000 US to the winner. It will complement the Dubai World Cup and the carnival that's being held during that period. We're expecting to get some of the top line thoroughbreds here for that race over the 1,600 metres. It fits well into the carnival. It's 3 weeks before Super Saturday in Dubai, and we believe that we will attract the top line thoroughbreds here to the Abu Dhabi Turf Club to race in the Abu Dhabi Gold Cup on that day. We're expecting, or we will have, 4 purebred Arabian races and 3 thoroughbred races, top lining with our Abu Dhabi Gold Cup over 1,600 metres. So we're really looking forward to that. It'll be the first running of this. It is a very exciting event for us. It really puts us on the international map as a destination for thoroughbred racing, and we're looking forward to welcoming people from all around the world coming to be a part of that event on the 7th of February 2026. And even more exciting, we're announcing a new partnership with Churchill Downs. So on Kentucky Derby Day, there's a race that Kentucky Derby hold, which is called the Old Forester. So next year, the winner of the Old Forester will receive an invitation to the Abu Dhabi Gold Cup event in 2027. So we're really looking forward to that relationship and growing that relationship and strengthening our ties with the USA and a lot of racing jurisdictions within the US to drive international thoroughbred racing here in the UAE and in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and I know we'd be pretty excited to see if one of our horses were going to go over there to participate in that race in 2027. Well, with the President Cup coming up this weekend, where can fans in America, where can they watch? Is there a website online where they can watch? What would post time be? All that.
Yeah, you can go to Abu Dhabi. We stream across there exclusively. Also, Sky World was one of our partners who take our simulcast, and then we've got many partners in the US where they can watch it live. A lot of people who would have sporting bet accounts across the US will be able to watch it on those accounts on live streaming. It'll be across live streaming services in the US, but Sky World's involved in the US will take that coverage. If those who don't have an account with relative outlets associated with Sky World can then look at Abu Dhabi Turf Club on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the stream live.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with us here, Dayle. I'm very excited to come out there this weekend and see the race course and all that. I hope to run into you out there.
Look forward to seeing you, and look forward to all your compatriots in the US tuning in to the President Cup.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dayle. And now we'll get back to BloodHorse Monday.
Thank you.
Unmute the mic there. Some fascinating stuff there from Dayle Brown there in Abu Dhabi. Appreciate Sean doing the interview. He is on a plane currently doing the work that you and I don't have to do, but a cool opportunity for him to get over there. What stood out to you there?
Yeah, as we were saying, Sean was smart enough to get out of the cold and head to the desert. One of the reasons we thought we had a chance to go over there, and we thought it was important because there's some good things going on that entire circuit. Abu Dhabi, as Dayle just outlined, is adding this $1 million race in February that's kind of coordinated to set up right in line with the carnival schedule. Meydan is the main track. Well, I shouldn't say main. It's the host of the Dubai World Cup.
Correct, right.
And it has carnival, which is the races, big group of stakes races nearly every weekend that lead up to the Dubai World Cup. But Abu Dhabi is on that same Emirates circuit, if you will. And so they're going to have a big race 3 weeks out, $1 million American. The nice thing, and what it sounds like from what Dayle is saying, is there's a lot of interest in the Arabian racing there. Yes. So they can take that, and then they know that there's a lot of international interest in thoroughbred racing. Right. So they can kind of mix the two together and have some nice race cards and bring people out to the track. And that's what they're doing. The President's Cup, that's mostly an Arabian card, right, but they have this $300,000 American U.S. listed race at the end of it for thoroughbreds. So we thought that would be fun to cover and also just see what's going on the entire circuit, as Dayle kind of outlined there.
So, of course, BloodHorse.com, your home for all of that coverage as well. It is a growing region, and frankly, Frank, I wanted to have more of a big picture conversation about Arabian Peninsula racing, whatever we're calling it these days. Obviously, we think of the Saudi races. We think of those races there in Dubai, but just the emergence in general. And like I said before, we heard this clip, that interest in dirt racing. I mean, I think it's something that, frankly, it could be a real positive for North American side as well. Yeah,
that's the thing, is it's a growing circuit, and they're going to need horses, and some of those horses can come from Kentucky and U.S. states here.
Absolutely.
That breed horses. So that's exciting as well. That as he outlined, Abu Dhabi is turf racing,
right, but
Meydan, of course, has the dirt track, and so much interest in that. So maybe huge races on that track that, as we talked about, so many added opportunities for horses to race from the U.S. and beyond.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating move too. You can see, and I talked with on my radio show, Frank, with Gary Palmisano once they announced an expanded Derby trail through places like Meydan. I think a very smart move. Get to those places that care the most about dirt racing, whether that's in the Arabian Peninsula, whether that's the Japanese route. But frankly, it's going to draw in those Japanese horses as well. We see so much overlap between horses like Forever Young, who just won the Breeders' Cup Classic. We've seen him compete at a very, very high level in the Arabian Peninsula. I think a very, very good move on the Derby part.
Yeah. And then on the turf side, as Dayle outlined, they're going to have the it's not the Old Forester Stakes, that's the sponsor, but right, one of the graded stakes on Derby weekend will now have this association with the new $1 million Gold Cup race. So it's great to just see these relationships develop. I love if you win this, you qualify for that. Right. It kind of teaches everybody, these races are out there and these opportunities are out there.
Yeah, it's cool to watch these trails, and I like them popping up. It does create challenges in North America as far as the calendar is concerned. We've seen different races. I don't want to say lose their prestige or whatever, but frankly, I'll use a very specific race. The Santa Anita Handicap is in March. It is up against these races. It offers less money. The travel to get there is what it is, etc. but we see it affecting the Pegasus. We see it affecting, frankly, probably a race, less like the Clark, because you could still run in the Clark and then, have the time if you did want, if a hit show wanted to go back, that kind of thing. Do American races need to adjust to just the purse money that's available there? I mean, it's got to be a consideration at least, right?
If you needed any reminder that the world is constantly changing, just follow racing. I mean, it's just
good point.
The way things are with changing training schedules and these added opportunities out there. The Santa Anita Handicap used to be among the 1 or 2 races for older horses that you wanted to win, and it's still a great race and still
Absolutely.
a race that you want to win, but no, it's going to be impacted by it's already been impacted by these races and will continue to be. But I mean, we see the thing on the other end with the Breeders' Cup, that the Jockey Club Gold Cup had to rethink on where it needed to be on the calendar, and it's just constantly changing. And we like that there's added international opportunities. We hate that these horses have to go overseas to race in them, but it's become a smaller world, and at the top end, these are creating opportunities to keep horses racing. So that's the part that I like about it. I hate that it does negatively impact some of the winter and early spring races.
Traditional big races we have over here. You know what I think of in our circuit here in Kentucky, they just closed at Churchill for the fall meet, but for that September meet, they don't even bother to run on the turf anymore that first weekend, because Kentucky Downs just wrapped up and so many of the best turf horses are there. So many of them are then aiming for Keeneland, right? And so even Churchill has had to make an adjustment within their September schedule just to adjust for the fact that, hey, if you have a turf horse at all, you're going to run for the purses at Kentucky Downs. It's just the reality. And so we're seeing more and more of this purse-driven scheduling in horse racing, and certainly the Arabian Peninsula falls well within that. Should be an exciting set of races coming up there for sure. When you talk with people around racing about what's happening, let's use Meydan as an example.
Mm-hmm.
What are the positives that come out of a place like Meydan? You've got the modern facility, you've got those sorts of things. What do you hear most, say, from horsemen about a place like Meydan?
I mean, they just do everything to try to make that travel as easy as possible.
Got it.
They pay your way over there. It's a great setup in terms of the training track and the track itself. You can stay at the hotel right there on the track. It's a pretty amazing track. The Dubai World Cup itself is just an incredible day. You just see people from all corners of the world. I remember just going in that day and just, believe me, I'm the least qualified person to talk about fashion. But I know,
even Frank knew. That's right.
I know enough that some people dress differently than others, and you saw pretty much every type of garb that you could imagine.
Right.
So that was just incredible. It just immediately hits you. Oh, this is truly an international event. Right. And we've seen that at Breeders' Cup now too, and it's great to see. But in terms of the horsemen, I think it's on everybody's radar now, and I think so many people have had good experiences there that people realize it's a place that realistically you can go and race and do well. You
wonder too, because we've seen a shift now. Like, I think the Jessamine is probably the best example this year. Horses coming out of Kentucky Downs. We used to think maybe you need a little bit of time. Maybe the conditions there are what they are. Coming back from the Middle East and needing a race or whatever else, that seems to be declining as well. People traveling better back from the Arabian Peninsula, etc. If that keeps up, I could see even more back and forth between the circuits.
Yeah, it seems like trainers have really figured out how to do that. As I said, Hit Show put together some nice races late in the year. So, yeah.
Big days continue, but Frank wanted to ask you, magazines coming up. What should we be watching for? Obviously, December is upon us.
Yeah, so I mean, we have the virtual issue of November is out and posted on our website. I know the printing can be a challenge on when you get that issue. So if you want to get right to it, the virtual issue is posted, but it has all the breeding. Like a lot of people like to see the in-depth breeding report, the long form breeding report of all these Breeders' Cup Classic, Breeders' Cup winners, not just the Classic winner, all the winners. So that's in there. I think you got to start with that. That's a really popular thing. We have a feature on Kendrick Carmouche, who's about as popular with the people as any jockey you'll ever meet. And I think he's a guy that his enthusiasm just brings people to racing.
I was there on Wood Day this year when he won his 4,000th race and he jumped into the crowd. He's that kind of guy. So I'm sure the interview is fantastic as well.
Yeah, there's no barrier there.
It really isn't.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
So that's
we had
terrific
Brian
feature
on last
Karen
week
Johnson did.
on the show, Brian Hernandez Jr. They grew up together in Louisiana as fellow jockeys, and he shared a story of them, trading notes about mounts between New York and Kentucky. And it is interesting, and I said this to Sean last week, the bigger personality went to the city and Brian went to Kentucky and New Orleans in Louisiana. Right? No, it sort of fits that way, right? Where Kendrick is comfortable with that Aqueduct crowd, what that Saturday is like up there in the winter. It's very fun. I'm sure the interview's great.
I mean, Ed McNamara, who's assisted us at BloodHorse here over the years, has a terrific book on just all the jockeys from that region. It's just an incredible story. I always like those stories that are kind of region specific. And
right.
Why is it that this one region produces all these great jockeys? And he just lists all of them, and it has each one of their stories. And it really kind of builds on itself. One person sees that, oh, this is something I can do and something I can be successful at. And somebody else does it and they follow in the footsteps. And it's one of the great traditions in racing in the U.S. It's a really incredible story.
I always like to ask trainers and jocks, where's the next generation coming from? Right? Because in horse racing, I think we take for granted how many quality people we get from family operations that come up because they were in the barn. I think of someone just very top of my head, like an Andy B. Cohn, who very clearly is good at the media thing, but is doing all the barn stuff. But she grew up with it, right? She grew up with a dad who's a trainer and all those kinds of things. I always wonder where that next generation is coming from. But, places like Louisiana have to be spots that we get future horsemen, horsewomen, horse people from if we're going to move the sport forward. And Brian, certainly an example of Kendrick for sure.
Yeah, it's that strong base, that strong foundation, right. And they can the story can emanate from there, and doing things like this, podcasts, and BloodHorse is trying to be out on as many different platforms as we can be, because that's something that we value, and we want to bring people to the sport as much as we can.
Of course, bloodhorse.com, the QR code at the bottom of the screen. I'll throw it back up. If you're on Spotify or on YouTube, go get the magazine there. And if you haven't signed up for the daily, bloodhorse.com, click on daily at the top left of the homepage. Free email to you every single morning. Start your day with BloodHorse and get your horse racing knowledge together, no matter when it is.
Yeah, the .com will have, as we just said, Sean's over at Abu Dhabi and is going to take a look at that entire circuit, racing over there and all the good. It's going to cover the race, obviously. So a lot of good coverage from there. We have Joe Perez at the Tattersalls sale.
Oh, nice.
The mayor's sale. So, the mayor's sales have all completed January will pick up again, but for this year they've completed largely in the U.S. So he's over there to cover that. And then we have the symposium coming up, which always very topical this year. A lot of good groups on that schedule. So good panels. We'll have coverage from there as well with Byron King. So
already next week,
good stuff coming up.
We get it, Byron. You like Arizona. We get it. All right. So get it. All right, so you've got the PPs in front of you. Big weekend at Naira, at Aqueduct. Obviously, we've got Demoiselle talk. We've got Cigar Mile talk. We've got the Remsen. Of those three races, is there one you're particularly looking forward to?
I think the Remsen.
Okay, yeah.
See where the 3-year-old division is going a little
Another race that has maintained its position as an important predictor for success, certainly amongst 3-year-olds moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then,
who stands out there? Talking, courting, Chambersville, anybody?
I suspect Palladian will be the favorite.
Probably.
I kind of think Balboa has a chance of wiring this group, though. Yeah, it looks to me like he has a speed advantage, has some experience for sure. I really like that race that after they shipped him east to the new trainer, Brittany Russell, really kind of showed some speed that maybe some of these other horses haven't faced yet. That California speed that Bob Baffert's so good at, and prepared him some, and then he just immediately comes to Laurel and just delivers what looks like his best performance to me, and a lot of early speed. So I think that's a good upset pick, but Palladian probably is the most likely.
Yeah, Flavian Pratt staying around New York will ride that one there. Talkin's an interesting one. Son of Good Magic here second in the Champagne for Danny Gargan. The aforementioned Kendrick Carmouche will ride there as well. Just an interesting group, and frankly, I feel very old, by the way. This is a Tisnow mare. I feel like Tisnow hasn't been around long enough for me to be doing those kinds of things, of course. But good magic in this spot. And Danny Gargan, nice little fall with the 2-year-olds this year. Should be interesting once we get to that. Courting in here as well should be one of the more favorites in by the time we get there. But
it's a good group of horses, and it's nice to see a big group of horses, full field here largely. So that'll be a great race. And
then, of course, it wouldn't be a New York race without Dreaming in it. Probably Dreaming. We'll pick up on the outside there for sure. Should be a fun one, though. It really should. Should be a nice race there. But the Cigar Mile as well on the card. Anybody stand out for you in this group?
I mean, Phileas Fogg just really looked to me like he's really put everything together late in the year. I don't see any reason why that's going to change. I think he's due for a big effort here and a big win. Has he had a grade 1 yet?
Phileas Fogg, I don't think so.
Of course, this is grade 2.
Yeah.
Grade 1 type of field.
Yes.
Grade 1 type of field.
Well, isn't it funny? The certain races,
nice sure.
Yeah, but the certain races they're grade 1 in your head forever. Yeah. Cigar Mile will always be grade 1. The Clark will always be grade 1. It's just one of those, one of those things.
I had to remind myself. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh man, it's probably grade 2. But
Phileas Fogg. I mean, certainly Bishop's Bay on the outside as well. Yeah. Oh, it should be fun. I mean, I even think, and Irad's in town for Saturday to ride. John Velasquez will be there, Joel Rosario, etc. It is a big card in a big day, and it is represented by the best jockeys as well. A fascinating group, though, in this one. I think Crazy Mason, the 4-year-old here, is a fascinating one, and this is a coal front. And most recently, of course, third in the Forgo, second in that Vosburg, I think just as a local kind of option. Should be a really interesting one. Did run off a bunch of wins, including grade 2 in the Carter, which I also don't think of grade 2.
The thing I like about, I don't likes maybe not the right word, but he lost to Bookham Dano a couple times, and Bookham Dano is.
We're not holding that against anybody. This
exactly.
Year. That's right,
yeah. That kind of says, hey, you're in the right ballpark if that's who's beating you. And yes, he definitely fits right in here.
Demoiselle on the card as well. Anybody stand out on the 2-year-old filly side of things here?
Kind of look at the 2 American Pharaohs here, Zany and concurrently. The old classic Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown showdown again. They look like they both fit. Fitzy. They look like the two to beat to me.
Yeah, concurrently coming out of a maiden win, took her a couple spots to do that. But Flavian Pratt up there. You surprised he stayed in New York for the winner? I think it makes a lot of sense for him, frankly.
It does. I mean, just build those relationships.
Absolutely.
So can be ready for the bigger meets. And Aqueduct is it.
We act like they're not running for 80,000 and
exactly.
all the maidens and all the allowances this winter. Yeah, right.
So Naira's landed on its plan, and it's well thought out. Aqueduct's going to become a thing in the past, and then we're going to shift racing to Belmont, and the new facility is really built there to take it. But a few years ago, when there was talk of just, why don't we just close Aqueduct? We did a story on it. It's like, this is a major meet with a lot of money wagered on the meet and a lot of big purses. So it's winter racing done right. And Belmont makes sense to be the new home for it. But you can do very well racing at Aqueduct in the winter.
It'll be interesting to see if they bring that, because I don't know if anyone else does this, but I have the times of the year in my head around horse racing. And one of those things is the tarp on the grass at Aqueduct. Whenever I see the tarp, I know it's winter and we're done. There's no grass racing. We're done. I wonder if they'll do that at Belmont for us. If for me personally, just to know what time of year it is.
Just so you know what season it is.
That's exactly right. Oh man. Well, good stuff. We appreciate Frank jumping in on the episode this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do a little Hong Kong talk. Obviously we'll have plenty of reaction to what Sean went through as far as his coverage there in Abu Dhabi, and of course Cigar Mile Day down there at Aqueduct as well.
A terrific thing the Hong Kong Jockey Club's doing to raise money for those fire victims. Anytime racing can just put itself in and be a part of the community, and part of that community is helping out the community when it's in need. That was great to see.
There you go. Well, he's Frank. I'm Louie. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this week on BloodHorse Monday. Back at it next week. Will Sean be here or not? Find out. The BloodHorse is dedicated to the improvement of thoroughbred breeding and racing for over 100 years. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and save BloodHorse Monday on all your platforms. For the latest news, analysis, and insights, visit us at bloodhorse.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.